All right, well, thank you, Blair, for the facts. Now, here's my opinion on this. Closing the shelters is a bad move. It's obviously too early. There's still lots of snow and ice on the ground in the greater Portland area. Look, I realize you have to have some sort of metrics to make a call like this, when to open or close the shelters. Having actual hard numbers helps take the emotion out of it. But then you also need to add in just a little tiny bit of common sense. You cannot be inflexible on those metrics. How about walking outside to see what it feels like? How about going to a shelter to see how those who live outside are doing with this cold? We've reported on cases of frostbite among the homeless people who've shown up at these shelters. That should tell you it's dangerously cold out there. But the county chair and others jumped the gun and called for the closing. And then they said, as Blair just told you, too hard to come get all the staff and the volunteers back to the shelters. They told our Blair Best the shelters were open 24 hours a day for 5 days in a row, and that it took 350 people a day, both county staff and volunteers, to keep those places going. Okay, great. Nice work to those of you who did volunteer. I'm told a lot of county workers worked their butts off. Well done. I'm also hearing the city of Portland only agreed to help supply workers when they were asked. Come on, you guys. It's time for the two governments to start working together on things like this. Don't wait to be asked. You see there's an emergency. How about volunteering? There's just no question the shelters closed too soon. But here is another question I've been thinking about. Why is it that every time we have a snowstorm or an ice storm like this, it feels like the very first time our county has ever experienced it? I mean, I sort of want to issue a warning right now. We're going to have some really hot days this summer. Hopefully you'll start to give a little planning thought to that. This should not be new, you guys. Why is there not a template that someone can pull off a shelf and say, oh, ice storm. Okay, yes, here we are. Here's all the shelters that we use. Here's all the staff that have been notified that part of their job is working in a shelter if needed. Here's a list of people who have other lists of people who have volunteered. Let's put it in action right now. Seems pretty simple. Folks, we have 803,000 people living in Multnomah County. Is it crazy to think that we could get 2,000 or 3,000 trained up and ready to volunteer every winter for the homeless emergency shelters? I don't think so. And if we had that in place, it would be no big deal to keep the shelters going until the snow and ice melted, which is common sense. I know some of you think I'm being too hard on county leaders, and some of you are going to write in and say, you just don't understand. You're right. I don't understand. I don't understand how you can close shelters and force more than 1,000 people back into icy wind and frozen surfaces in our city. Yes, it is easy to be an armchair quarterback on this, but it should also be easy to walk around and say, we have metrics, but right now we're throwing those out the window. We are erring on the side of caution and compassion and safety. But that obviously did not happen. And in my opinion, this storm was hard enough for those of us with housing. The folks who made the call to close those shelters made it unbearably hard for those without. They are the people who were forced back out into the elements. That's my opinion anyway. What's yours? You don't have to agree with me. Let me know what you think though, will you? Email us. The address is thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090. I look forward to hearing from you.